What's up guys, it's Amanda and welcome back to my channel. Happy Artsy Fartsy Friday to all of my artistic peeps out there. And if you're not super artistic, that's okay. I bet you can still enjoy this video. Today's video, I'm coloring the October Zodiac illustration. And one thing that you might notice is that this video is a little bit longer. I decided to slow down most of the clips in this video to just give you a better idea of what I'm doing. I typically speed up my clips really fast, like 15 to 20 times as fast, and it's sometimes hard to get an idea of the actual techniques that I'm using, so hopefully in this video, slowing down the clips a little bit more will help you to just get a better feel for the layering and the blending that I do in these types of illustrations. So if you've been following me on my other social media, you know that we are getting down to the wire with the Zodiac project. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to continue releasing the videos for the rest of the year, but the rest of the illustrations, including the cover, are set to be done by the end of October. So I'm going to be doing a lot of Twitch live streams and a lot of kind of sneaky peek stuff over on Patreon, giving you glimpses of what the final calendar is going to look like and what the rest of November and December's characters are going to look like. So if you're interested in the behind the scenes parts of the Zodiac, I highly recommend following me on Patreon, and then if you're into live streams, follow me over on Twitch, because I sort of have to give you sneak peeks of stuff on Twitch because you're seeing me do it live. But if that's something that you're interested in, those links are always down below, and I encourage you to check them out if you haven't already. But for those of you that have been interested in purchasing a calendar for yourself for the year of 2019, I have news for you. The calendars are scheduled to go on sale for pre-order on November 1st. Still a ways away. But I want to make sure that the calendars are up for a long enough time that people can sort of plan ahead and get them before the holidays, while also giving me enough time to actually make however many calendars I need to make. So I think having pre-orders open in November will just help give me an idea. And then once I sort of get pre-orders out, I can focus more on just fulfilling orders as they come. Pre-orders might also get some extra perks. I was thinking of throwing in like a free print or like an extra button or sticker or something. You guys can let me know your thoughts on that down below. I would really love your input, especially because I know that some of you have been following along with the Zodiac calendar since January, and this is sort of equally as exciting for both of us. So now that we kind of just have all of the updates out of the way, I will continue to remind you about calendar related stuff as these videos continue to come out. In fact, I'm thinking of launching November's video a little bit earlier so that you get just a better idea of all the Zodiac goodness that's coming your way. I do have one collab in October as well, so look forward to that coming soon. And then after the calendar is completed, we can get back to our regularly scheduled programming on this channel, such as marker reviews, art supply hauls, and just regular good old speed paints. It's been a really long time since I've done one of those, probably since 2017. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this illustration in particular because it's actually one of my favorites so far. October is one of my favorite months of the year. Some of my favorite people have birthdays in October. It's the month of Halloween. It's really the time of the year where fall is the most apparent and everything is just cooler, and then, you know, you have that sort of spooky vibe to everything with Halloween happening. It's also when Inktober happens, and oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so bummed I'm not doing Inktober this year. It really makes me want to cry my eyes out every time. But I'm super looking forward to seeing all of your Inktober drawings, so please post them, please share them, be loud and proud about them, because I want to live vicariously through you this year. But that aside, I love October. I really love the month of October. And so when I was thinking about this month for the calendar, I knew I wanted to put my own little special twist on it just because I really love the characters for this month as well. Now, you guys already saw Libra from last month. She was featured in September's illustration, but then we are also seeing Scorpio for the first time. And after designing Libra, I really felt like she had this sort of Stevie Nicks circa American Horror Story season 3 vibe to her, where it was like a witchy, coven, bohemian kind of vibe. I really liked that, and I feel like Libra fits that pretty well. And so I wanted to do something sort of similar with Scorpio. I feel like Scorpio is a zodiac sign that's associated a lot with like sensuality and like boldness and mystery, and so I wanted to incorporate some of that as well, and I feel like Libra and Scorpio complement each other really well. There's a lot of really cool similarities between them, but there's some key differences as well. So having these two in an illustration together was a really cool opportunity for me to push myself a little bit, especially with color. For the background, which I love, you're seeing me finish it up now, I wanted to go dark. I wanted to go dark and mysterious and kind of misty and not creepy, but just I wanted to push myself. I've done a lot of sunset backgrounds and I've done a lot of happy blue sky backgrounds, but I've not done a really good nighttime scene. And I really wanted to. So I got to use some of my favorite colors in the background. I got to use the BG90 and BG70 color families. If you know Copic markers, then you know those. But they're just these really lovely kind of olivey greens and rich dark turquoise teal colors. And they layer so well together, they play really nicely together, and they blend effortlessly. So I used mostly a combination of those two color families, which was about 6 markers, and that's how I achieved the background. And I love the various gradients, especially in the sky where it meets the horizon. I just think that looks so cool. So I was really happy with the background, and I got to add my favorite little pine tree silhouettes, which you guys know I have definitely taken advantage of in this project, and I use them pretty much every chance I get. But I really like drawing pine trees. I feel like there's a little bit of Bob Ross in me that just wants to draw happy little trees all the time. And it's been one of my favorite accents to add to backgrounds lately. So after I finished the background, I was struggling a little bit with the outfit colors. In last month's illustration, Libra's outfit was like this light dusty purple, which I knew would play well here, but I was having a hard time nailing down Scorpio's colors and figuring out how those two colors would look next to each other, and also how they would look in comparison to the background. Because the background was super cool toned, I knew I didn't want to introduce a lot of really warm tones, and I didn't want to introduce a lot of light colors either, because I wanted to keep things kind of dark overall. Plus, it wouldn't really make sense to have a super light color in a nighttime environment anyway, because it would be sort of altered by the surrounding colors. So I had to mess a little bit with Libra's coloring as well. I also did not give her the same sort of arm sash cuffs that I gave her in last month's illustration, and you'll notice in next month's illustration that for some reason Scorpio doesn't have her sash either. I guess they're all just losing their sashes. There's just various zodiac sashes lying around in this world that have been misplaced and forgotten about. So you'll notice that, and hopefully you won't be too disappointed by that. I feel like the characters are still really recognizable despite the fact that I left some details of their outfit out, but I digress. So you can see I colored the skin tone and hair color for both characters first. That's typically a pretty obvious sign that I don't know what I'm doing when I'm coloring the outfits, because I'm putting it off to the very last minute. But with skin tone and hair color, I usually have a pretty good idea of where I want to go with it. And for Scorpio, I wanted her to have darker hair and darker features because I feel like it played really well with her character. And then for her outfit, I really wanted to do purple for her outfit as well, but I was really torn between making it too similar to Libra's colors. And so I originally thought maybe I would do a deep red, but the closer that I got to it, the deep red just didn't seem to fit, which is odd because I ended up using deep red for parts of this illustration anyway, and I don't think it looked that off. I think I was just worried about the red clashing too much with the blues in the background. But using these deep reds, especially in combination with blues and then shading them with greens and purples, it really ties the whole thing together. And it just made me more mindful of adding hints of warmth to the rest of the illustration, even though there was so much blue. So a good way to do that is to layer purples into the background if possible, and then layering, you know, some rosy pinks onto Libra's outfit to just tie everything together. Also, I have no idea why there's just a random memory card sitting next to this illustration. Like, that's oh, there I go. I finally move it. Okay. I swear, my life has been such a mess these days. It's been all over the place. I can barely get my head on straight at the beginning of the day. So please forgive me, and thank you so much for your patience with me over the last couple of months, and thank you in advance for your continued patience with me over the next year or so. As many of you know, I recently started an internship that's part of my master's program, and I'm committed to that for the next year, which has been really great, but time is very limited to me these days, and I've been having to rework some of my time management skills and adjust to this big life change. So I super appreciate you guys. You're always very understanding of me and my situations, and I just hope that you will continue to be patient with me. If you follow me over on Patreon, you'll know I talked about this in my monthly newsletter, but for the most part, after the Zodiac project is done, I'm going to be stepping away from larger projects like this for at least the next year. That doesn't mean I won't be doing any large projects ever again. In fact, I have some really exciting plans for larger projects in the next couple of years. Number one, I would love to release an art book. I won't say too much about that and what that will entail, but then I also want to start writing a story for a graphic novel. So those are just some things on the very, very distant horizon that I have been toying around with for a while. There's something that I really want to do, but right now I can't commit the time to it, so I don't want to get you guys super hyped up about something that is not going to happen anytime soon, so hopefully you understand. But getting back to this illustration and to just the Zodiac project in general, I've learned so much through doing this project, and although there's a lot of things that I would probably go back and do differently, I'm really proud of this project overall. And seeing your guys' reaction to these illustrations and these characters has been so heartwarming just because it was something I did not expect. I wanted to challenge myself at the beginning of this year to do something I'd never done before, but I ended up getting a whole lot more out of it than I would have expected. And I've actually been thinking about doing a video reflecting on this project after it's all over and talking about what I learned and what I would do differently and my favorite and least favorite parts of this whole experience in general. And if that's something that you guys would be interested in, particularly those of you that have been following along with this project throughout this year, let me know. And if you have specific questions in mind for a video like that, comment those down below as well. So you can see we're kind of getting near the end of this illustration. There's just a few minutes left, and it's really just where everything in this illustration comes together. Unfortunately, I did not record the line art process. I rarely do. It's really a painstakingly boring process from afar, and there's not really a way for me to film it super close up because my hand is so close to the page, it pretty much blocks everything I do. But I always go in with the line art last just because I really want to add the line art where it's needed and not for me to have as a guide. I want the line art to serve a function to the viewer, not necessarily me as the artist. So I go in with a line art at the very end. I've been doing the line art the same way throughout the Zodiac project, where I go in with a 05 sepia Sakura Pigma Micron, I think it's what it's called. I go in with a size 05 and a size 01, and that is how I refine all of the details. But I try and get as much detail in with just the markers as possible, because I feel like it creates a much cooler, cleaner, interesting look when I just, as opposed to just relying on the line art to do that for me. And after that point, I also went in with some white gel pen, which I do believe I recorded a little bit of it, but you guys know the drill with white gel pen. It's just the Sakura Jelly Roll gel pens, and I do that to add all of the fun stars and reflections in the water, which really just takes this piece from a plain old illustration to something that comes to life and something that feels real and tangible, and it just makes it pop so much. It's such a cool point in the artwork, and I know my fellow artists out there understand it's sometimes an illustration isn't done until you add those white gel pen accents, and as soon as you do, it's like it changes the piece completely. I'm sure many of you can relate, and if you can, comment down below. And if there's something similar to that, but not necessarily white gel pen, let me know that as well, because maybe I'm missing something that I could be adding to all of my artwork. So one thing that I did here that I really enjoyed, at this point Libra's outfit was just looking a little bit too purple. It was contrasting, it didn't really fit with the rest of the illustration. But I went over it with, I believe it was my E70 marker, which is like a dusty taupe with a little bit of like rose to it. I went over all of the light purple areas with that marker, and that, for some reason, it was such a subtle change, but that brought it all together. And it just, it tied in those warmer red tones that are apparent in Scorpio's outfit, and it just, I think it looks really good. So at this point, I've already done that step. I don't think it was on camera, but I just wanted to kind of discuss how I navigated that part of the piece. And now I'm just adding the stars, which I talked about 2 minutes ago, but is now finally on screen. Sorry for the usual all over the place voiceover. Sorry, I burped, but I'm not editing that out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you like the longer form content, and if you do, I will continue to kind of slow things down in the future. But that's it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on the internet. Bye!